Hello, folks. This is Parrish Alford at the Daily Journal. We're talking baseball today with Brad Henderson, career hits leader at Ole Miss radio baseball analyst. Baseball season is coming up this weekend. The Rebels start at home against Charleston Southern. Brad, nothing says baseball like a winter weather advisory. We had that last week. Don't have it this week. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good, Parrish. It's good to be back. It's like you said, it's here. It seems like it wasn't that long ago you and I were visiting, but it's good to have baseball season back in Oxford.
It is. It's baseball is just a special time in Mississippi. You see all these national lists and things that people say Mississippi doesn't do well. They don't say that about college baseball. We do college baseball pretty good here in Mississippi. And Brad, I want everybody to know that you do pretty good too at Alpha Insurance. And I say that, Brad, because last year it was like, hey, let's talk about Brad Insurance a little bit. But now I'm a customer, man. I experience all of this customer service, firsthand, folks. I want to let y'all know that Brad's available for your insurance needs. Brad, how do they get a hold of you there?
The office number here is 662-236-1575 here in Oxford. We'd love to just get a quote or visit with any of you if you have any questions. So we're located obviously here in Oxford off West Oxford Loop. If you're close to the area, it's behind Old Navy and a home goods store. But again, the easiest way to reach us would be by phone at 662-236-1575.
All right, man, let's talk baseball. I thought it was interesting to note, Brad, that the SEC coaches don't really know what to make of this Ole Miss team. They've got them picked to win the overall SEC championship, but then picked in a second place tie in the division with Mississippi State. And that's possible because of the way the voting goes and points that are allotted and everything. But in terms of first place votes to win the overall regular season championship, Ole Miss got the most of those from SEC coaches, and that was 4. But what do you make of this team right now? That's a very broad question, but a lot of experience coming back, obviously, on offense, a lot of experience lost in pitching. Last year was another year that the season ended at the doorstep of the College World Series. When you put all that together, are the expectations where they should be for this team?
Yeah, I think they are. I mean, let's talk about the offense first. That's the obvious. That's what gained us all those votes. Was you're returning 8. They're going to be able to pencil in 8 guys in the lineup that played last year. And not only that, not only did they play, they were really, really good. And so you may see another name or two sprinkled in there in the lineup, but it's nice to know you've got so many veterans that have had so much success and really kind of had a pact. And when I say veterans, Kevin Graham, Tim Elko, Justin Bench, those guys wanted to give it one more ride. And and then you get a guy like Jacob Gonzalez, and you get your Dunhurst back, Chatagnier back. So yeah, I mean, you get 8 guys back that were all successful. So that sets up offensively to be really special. And I've told a couple people that this could be the best offensive team that's ever come through here. And I don't want to put any pressure on these guys, but the correlation of the numbers that they put up last year, and now all of them are one more year into this thing, it could be a scary, scary offense. And I think they'll win us some games to overcome maybe some pitching, some inability to get some guys out. We may win a Friday night game in the league 8-6, which is kind of rare to score that many runs on a Friday. But there is no easy out in this lineup. So from that aspect, it's going to be fun. Now you go to the pitching side of it. I know Mike has talked about, he feels like they're a lot deeper than they were last year. I know we were super top heavy with a healthy Gunnar Hoagland and obviously Doug Nikhazy. And then on the back end, we were pretty good with Taylor Broadway, but in between, it just seemed to kind of be a question mark. on who was going to throw and how that was going to turn out. So, you know, I feel like we'll see this weekend. You know, Derek Diamond's going to throw on Friday. I think that's been publicly announced. I feel like we'll see John Gaddis, the left-hander, the Corpus Christi transfer on Saturday. And then Sunday, I think it's going to boil down to either Drew McDaniel or the Washburn transfer. Jared Washburn was his dad that pitched so long in the big leagues, the transfer from Oregon State. So that's how I've got it penciled. You know, I know Mike hadn't publicly come out and say that, but just being around some of the inner squads and having some conversations with some people, you know, it wouldn't shock me if Drew McDaniel got the start just simply because he's been there before on the weekend. But, you know, as well as I do, Parrish, it could look totally different, you know, a month and a half into this thing. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. I know some of the new guys are going to really factor in. They're really high on the Tupelo kid, Elliott. The left-hander's been really, really good. And Riley Maddox, a freshman out of Jackson with Jackson Prep, he's been really good. So, you know, there's going to be opportunities there for these younger guys and some of the newer guys. The DeLucia kid has been pretty good. And then what are we going to do on the back end? It's nice to have Jack Doherty back. And then Brandon Johnson, I think, will start the year probably as our closer. But you know, who knows? It's all going to depend on when they flip the lights on. You know, who competes and can get off the field and who doesn't. So, you know, there's some names there. There'll be some new guys there, but you know, they feel good about it going into this Charleston Southern weekend.
Do you think Doherty becomes a back end guy, maybe middle relief, long relief, or challenging at that closer spot, or could he be in that starter mix?
You know, I think he's got a chance. You know, I think they hope, and hope is not a good word. It's not a good strategy. It'd be nice to have that nailed down, but I think they hope that McDaniel or Washburn can be that guy. And then you may have a new guy that nobody's heard of, because nobody heard of Jack Doherty until about a month left in the season. And you see what he did as well. So it always happens that way in baseball. And, you know, the good thing about this, Mike's done this 22, 23 years now, and he's always had really good staffs, you know, and there's been years going into this. It was like, man, who are we going to run out there on Saturday or Sunday? And you think about a Doug Nikhazy, who wasn't very good as a freshman, and you see what he did his past 2 years. And so, you know, there's always those diamonds in the rough that the public, that they may not be the 5-star guy or the Under Armour All-American or the perfect game All-American. And they come here and they're really good and they go on to play a long time. So, you know, those will always shake out as well. But Doherty is going to be a factor this year. And then at some point we get Max Chofie back. And I think that's big if he comes back as the same Max Chofie we had before his arm injury. Now, that's always a question mark coming off Tommy John, but Tommy John is not near what it used to be. Some guys come back throwing better after Tommy John, but people don't realize what a big loss that was last year to Ole Miss. And, you know, so, you know, there's a lot of new names, a lot of new faces, but, you know, I think they feel pretty good about it. And they've had to face this offense all fall and all spring. So I don't know that the competition is going to get much harder for these pitchers.
And it was an early loss last year of Chofie. You know, he threw that opening weekend there out in Texas, and you know, they thought for a time he might be the closer. Certainly thought he would, you know, would be that, at least that setup guy. You know, they had a real role for Max Chofie, and it was a big loss. So we'll see, you know, what he can provide when he comes back. But he could be a really key piece to this pitching staff. He's a guy, Brad, that if something goes sideways in your competition for the starting rotation, I mean, he's a guy maybe you look at if it comes to that in the middle of the season. If he's healthy again and you're not quite where you want to be, I think he could be that versatile and could help you in that way if you needed that from him. Talk to me about Jacob Gonzalez a little bit. What does he do for an encore? Can he be as good statistically as he was last year, or is that too much to expect?
No, I don't think that's too much to expect. He's a special. I mean, he's a special player. He'll go down as one of the great ones that ever played at Ole Miss. The kid had 93 hits last year. It was second in the conference, only behind Tanner Allen at Mississippi State, who had 100 and was the conference player of the year. Jacob's just a special player, and I talked to Mike about him at the inter squad last weekend. I just kind of asking Mike, what does he got to do to get better? How can he get better? And he said he's got to get better defensively. You know, he had, I think, 16 or 18 errors, which is not bad. That's an average season for an SEC shortstop. And I thought it was a pretty good year considering he was a freshman getting thrown in that spotlight. But, you know, Mike would like to see that number be in the single digits, you know, 7, 8, 9 errors, which would basically essentially be cutting it in half. But I think you're going to see the power numbers probably go up a little bit just because he's got a year under his belt and he's a little bit faster, a little bit stronger. But he's just one of those silent leaders. He goes about his job, competes, but he's just a really tough out. There's not a lot of holes in his swing. There's not a lot of ways to get him out consistently. And his demeanor, you know, he never gets too high, never gets too low. And that's why I think he'll play this game for a long time. I don't know that it'll be at shortstop, but he's going to be an awfully good shortstop here at Ole Miss.
Will he stay at shortstop at Ole Miss, or do you think he becomes a third baseman? I mean, obviously, he looks like Bench could play anywhere.
Yeah, I think he's our best option right now at shortstop. I think if we talk opening weekend, I think you're going to see Tim Elko play first base, Chatagnier will play second, Gonzalez will play short. I think Reagan Burford is going to play third base. He was a kid that signed with Ole Miss last year, was here for a semester, transferred out to a junior college in Florida, and now he's back. And he's had a really good fall and a really good spring. And they're going to look for him to bring that bat to the lineup as well. And then that allows you to play, you know, bench and center where he's so good. McCants will play right and Graham will play left. Now, I'm not going to say that opening weekend, we won't see Bench play third base and move TJ McCants back to center field and Kemp Alderman, who's been really, really good, play right field or DH as well. So, you know, the names that are going to interchange are going to be Alderman, Ben Van Cleve, and Hayden Leatherwood. So that, you know, depending on who's hot, who's not, right-left matchups, left-right matchups. But, you know, you got your nucleus of 10 or 11 guys there that, you know, are kind of fighting for it. And then you hope you have a new guy step in that maybe when you flip the lights on, that's when they really shine. But, you know, that's, as far as the lineup goes, there's going to be a lot of familiar faces run out there Friday at 4.
What do you know about Tim Elko's health right now? What have you seen? Any effects of the knee?
No, it looks good. He looks really good. He's moving laterally really well. Still wearing the knee brace. I feel like the doctor at some point will let him take that off, but right now I think it's more of a precautionary measures, Parrish. But I've seen him dive several times to his left, to his right to make plays at first base. So I think that's going to be a non-issue. And clearly we saw what he did last year with one knee, with one ACL. So, you know, he's had a monster spring already, hit several home runs, and, you know, he's got so much protection there in the lineup as well. So, you know, they're expecting big things from Tim.
Is he going to look like Sid Bream trying to score from?
Oh, you're dating us now, Parrish, but yeah, he's going to, you know, I hope he doesn't have Sid Bream limp coming in to score, but no, I think he's extremely healthy and he's doing everything at 100%.
Hey, you mentioned Kemp Alderman, and he came to mind for me as well, but is there another candidate out there, a second-year guy, you know, maybe it's a newcomer, but somebody who would be your candidate to kind of be the surprise guy, not necessarily a starter, but somebody whose role increases and we see a jump in productivity. And, you know, Kemp last year, it looked like the breaking ball got to him a little bit at times.
Sure.
I'm assuming in a year's time that he's made some advances there. Who might that person be?
As far as outfield goes, I still think it's going to be Kemp or Leatherwood. Now, a guy that's really come on and played really well has been Knox LaPoster, the backup catcher, who last year, was used sparingly, more to give Hayden Dunhurst a day off, but he's swung it a lot better, and he's played the position. Of course, when you have three former catchers on your staff, that's an important position here at Ole Miss. But I think you may see Knox get a little more playing time and allow Hayden a little more time off to give him some rest going into some obviously huge SEC weekend. So, as far as the emergence of somebody that we've never heard of, I don't think we've had that yet. And that's the luxury of bringing back 10 or 11 guys that have so much experience. Not that it can't happen. But some of these guys that were so good would have to fall off tremendously for one of these newcomers to really blow it out.
Brad, it was an odd June, end of June last year after the Super Regional when Mike's name was prominent in the LSU coaching search. He talks with LSU, he comes back, and gets the extension at Ole Miss. He's here. What does that do to players? What was the conversation like, do you think, among the players during that time? I mean, there's so many days have passed. I'm sure they've gotten past it, but what do you think that time was like for them?
Well, at that point, and Mike's so good about this, we returned from the Super Regional in Arizona, and, within the next couple of days, he had his exit meetings with all the players, and the exit meeting is just, hey, here's where we ended up personally, and here's what we expect, and, kind of where things would shake out coming into the next season, and the expectations of how they can get better over the summer. And then once those exit meetings, of course, school's already out, those kids, they either go home or they, are going off to play summer baseball. So, I'm sure there was some texting and some calling, but it all happened after the season. So it wasn't like they were rooming together and they're sitting around talking about it. And Mike's so professional at what he does. It's an open door policy with him. So, if they had questions, I'm sure they reached out to him, but the way he handles things, and this is why he's been here as long as he has, is he does things the right way. And I'm sure he probably had to make some tough decisions if that decision was on the table. It's his alma mater, opportunity maybe to coach his son, but we're certainly glad that he decided to stay. And Oxford's been home for a long time, and I know the kids are glad that he's back.